show kita yang keempat ini dengan tema Creating a Startup Vision and Goals Profitable and Giving Positive Impact for Society. Sebelumnya, saya ingatkan lagi kepada semua peserta, mohon untuk semuanya memute audionya, dan nanti apabila ada pertanyaan, silahkan diberikan di kolom chat. Jadi akan kami cek dan kami akan pilih mana-mana aja pertanyaan yang akan kita berikan kepada pembicara kita pada pagi hari ini. Jangan lupa juga kami harapkan nanti pertanyaan-pertanyaan sesuai dengan tema yang kita diskusikan pada pagi hari ini. Oke. Untuk kegiatan pada pagi hari ini akan dibuka oleh Bapak Nikodemus Winata selaku Division Head dari Business Expansion MRT Jakarta. Waktu dan tempat kami persilahkan.
Oke, thank you JB. I think saya sudah thank you JB. And before that, I think I wanna thank you semua teman-teman yang udah datang di sini, and thank you juga ke Pak Andrew. So within this untuk MRTJ Talk kita hari ini, I think we mentioned that we are trying to do it as one session in English. So I don't know who are the participant here, atau mungkin lebih banyak orang Indo atau enggak, tapi nggak apa-apa, kita coba di English like I already mentioned, but we gonna have I think pindah-pindah lah ke Indo dan ke Inggris, okay? So again, thank you again for all of you who can attend this meeting, this webinar, right? Really appreciate you taking your time from your busy schedule to participate in this webinar. And also, special thank you to our guest today. As guest speaker is Andrew Tanyono, which is also my friend here. Okay. Before this, typically, when I open this session, when I go introduce Andrew, I want to kind of look back, right? What we have, what we've listened, and from our previous session, typically with Pak Donald from MDA Ventures, we have Jaya. So I think Pak Donald mentioned a couple of things that because from his vision he is looking from a visi perspective, right? And from the title was scaling a startup through collaboration partnership. He mentioned, right? For startups, what are the strong fundamental criteria, right? Which is, I think this is good here to kind of for me to repeat again what he was saying. For a startup, for somebody who wants to create a startup, you gotta understand the market, right? Understand what to prove within your MVP. Test your assumption, and then check the result, right? And revise the product. There's going to be a cycle, right? So I think within this, Andrew will also touch with this, right? As a startup, you have to be agile. I think Asto also mentioned in this, right? There's a cycle, which is what typically a startup will do. And also, when he was looking to invest in a startup, right? He found some of this thing in the startup that he look, right? Because startup is not only in investing in a company, but I think for VC is also investing in the founders, right? Right. Founders have a vision and a passion, which I think is really important. Have a plan, know the numbers, right? Know the numbers on top of their heads, and understand what's the VC. All the VCs have different expectation, so they need to understand that, right? Something here that I want to see here, Pak Donald mentioned about what corporate has, what startup has, and then, between VC and startup itself, is good at creating, we want to create impactful partnership, right? So as a startup, you got to know when you pitch it, you know what you're good at, know what each side needs, what to prove, and what's the corporate's needs, right? So, and that's what I think it's good, right? I think from my side also, what I've taken to this is, hey, this startup, when we typically choose this startup, to collaborate, right? Do this startup really understand, the problem in MRTJ? Did they really do any research, right, about MRTJ? Even before they talk to me, right? Because some of this you can sort of start with do research, go to the station, go to the right MRT, found the problems, right, and they pitch it. That's why some of the some of the startup, all the startup that that we accepted to this program understand what we need. The business model really hit on right about the needs that from MRT Jakarta here. So then, and for us is we really appreciate is that's why our team here. I look at my team as a as a synergy division, like Pak Donald mentioned, right? Because we bridge in between the startup that came into MRT Jakarta. We bridge in between the division inside within the MRT Jakarta, whether it's operation maintenance, whether it's commercial retail, customer engagement division. So we are trying to basically building those synergies between those, right? And then basically at the end of the day, we want to create impactful products, full of innovative products and services that we can basically later on at the end of the program here, we can commercialize together, right? I think that's some of the key takeaways that I have from Pak Donald. Now, let me just move on here a little bit about Andrew here, right? So what we're going to discuss with Andrew today, right? So we've had, before this, we have Pak Asto from Jojonomics, which is a founder, right? He is a founder, startup founder, and we have Pak Joni, which is, he came from a corporate site, right? And we have Pak Donald. Now we're going back to a founder again, right? Which is Andrew. So for Andrew, we're going to talk about Andrew, right? He's going to talk a little bit about his experience in, creating Kitchen. And Kitchen is actually his second, right? His second startup. He's going to share a little bit of his experience when he created, when he built Promogo, right? He's going to talk a little bit about the Kitchen, but he's going to a little bit dive on the more Kitchen and the products and impact to society, on how he's leading Kitchen when he now facing with COVID-19 situation. And also, at the end of the day, talk a little bit about collaboration and how to achieve his goal, right? Collaboration with the startups and with the corporates to achieve the goals, right? So funny, right? Most of these guys, known for a little bit more short period of time, but Andrew, I've known Andrew for a long time, right? Andrew is a childhood friend of mine. We've known together since elementary school, but we went to different high school and colleges. And a couple years back, we met again. We hung out, and then we just basically catch up with a lot of stuff, and we start talking again, right? And that's why I invited him to be the mentor of, based on his experience, invited him to be the mentor of MRTJ Accel. Since I know Andrew for a long time, I can tell that Andrew is he's a sharp guy, right? Work really hard, talk to every time it's either Promogo or Kitchen in his head, right? When he's talking, he's really focused. What I like about him, he always great in setting visions, right? When I talk about him, but his ideas, right? He's not always like one step ahead, I want to build this. No, he always talk about, I want to build this, but this is the second step, this is the third step, right? The second phase, third phase about this company. So he's all like 1, 2, or 3 steps ahead, right, about the company. So that's his vision is really great in building a company. And he's a humble guy, right? Typically, some of my friends, if I, busy guy, a lot of my friends have his own company. When I talk to my friends, he's always like, when I text, texting through, not texting, right, WhatsApp message or call, and always try to call the same day during his busy schedule. So any of you guys want to talk to him, for mentorship, always welcome here. So he's also have a great resume, right? Again, I told him went to school in New Zealand, got his bachelor's degree in New Zealand, worked there for a while, and then came back, built a Promogo, and sold his company, now building Kitchen. Okay, so got a lot of his good things in his resume. That's why I invited him, to come and share a little bit about his experience and some of his wisdom here to a lot of our friends here that joined the webinar. And so, without further ado, I would like to have Andrew to take the stage. Andrew, let's go ahead.
Thanks, Pak Nico. Man, you talk so well. I think we can wrap it up, guys. Thank you for joining. I think he mentioned it all, and the whole journey of how you always have to create an MVP before everything else, how you have to always 2, 3 steps ahead. But Pak Nico, again, thank you so much. Do you mind if I start sharing the screen?
Go ahead. JB can share screen, right, JB?
Yeah, I can.
Yes.
Right. Can anyone see my screen?
Yes, Pak. Clear.
Okay, sounds clear. Again, I thank you. I thank you, Pak Niko. I thank you, Pak JB, untuk moderating this as well. And of course, the space and the time of everyone here today. It's gonna be a mix ya. Kita coba campur Indonesia dan Inggris juga. Just in case aku berubah-ubah, but please bear with me. So, and because of the time, allow me to just begin. Pak Niko already mentioned all, but here is a little bit about me. So yes, I did have the opportunity to study, to live, and to work in New Zealand. And I guess it's clear from my background, I've always been in the IT or the computing world, right? I love keeping up with the latest tech, with the latest gadgets, and all that stuff. It's always been my passion. I relocate back to Jakarta in 2012, and since then I've been learning the ropes. I've been investing here and there, learning things all about startup. And as also mentioned, I did have my very first startup in 2016. That's when I started PromoGo. You can see from the screen as well that I was with Gojek for a couple of years. I helped launch kelas.com as well. And now I am co-founding Kita Kitchen, which is a cloud kitchen. Now, before we go further, I wanna start with this. This is a very simple comics. No, I did not make this, but I put a reference there. It is from Instagram. I came across it. It's a simple comics that basically provide all scenarios, right? There's an older couple with a donkey, and you see from this, you know that no matter what, people will always have something to say. You can never please everyone, right? I find this, I don't know if you guys can resonate on this, but I find this very, very powerful. And this is maybe one of my personal motto in life, where, you know, at the end of the day, you just have to believe in what you do. You just have to, you know, regardless of what you do, people will still talk about it anyway. People will always find fault. People will always have something to say. So, you know, have a faith in yourself and keep doing on what you believed in. This is where I want to start it off. Now, as mentioned, I wanna brief you a little bit on PromoGo. So this is just a milestone. I started PromoGo back in 2016. The reason was I can't say it's simple, but at that time I felt that out of home advertising was very, very limited in terms of choices and expensive, right? I can only think of a billboard, which is only a few companies able to afford billboard, and then umbul-umbul atau you know, those digital videotron juga, it is all very expensive and it's all very huge. Only a number of companies able to advertise. Second, the traffic di Jakarta itu kejam ya, ibu kota itu kejam ya. So you know the traveling time between one point to another, you know, you got to spare at least an hour or two sometimes to travel. Done back in 2016, that's when Uber started pouring in, ada Grab car juga, ada GoCar juga. So at that time for me, I was like, there must be a better way to utilize this traffic and out of home advertising combined. And no, I did not start the idea. I noticed there is a company in the US that started this. But what I changed here is that in the US, they targeting the moms and pops who drop their kids, do groceries, get coffee, goes to gym. They sticker their car and then they earn while they're driving. And in here, I knew it that I have to not tap into those moms and pops and the workers, but the online drivers, right? I mean, it is still their car. They still have the right to sticker or decal the car. and they're doing this basically every day. So I thought, you know, if I wanted to start this, I'm gonna get into this online drivers, and that works. We started off jumping from one online cars to another, using that as a primary way to commute, recruiting as many drivers as possible, and within less than a year, you know, we managed to rack in revenue of $1 million. That was a big achievement for us. But what I like to highlight here is that 5 billion of the revenue is basically given back to the drivers, right? And I think this is where the positive impact on what Promogo is doing. The rest of the timeline, I wanted to share that we're not complacent. We don't settle for just car advertising. That's where we also innovate on a new way of other transit medium advertising. So we have the motorbikes, and then in 2018 as well, we work with a local bus company, the Intercity, and we also managed to secure some campaign and advertise throughout the bus as well. And I guess we did have a pipeline. We wanted to become even a bigger platform where it becomes an out-of-home advertising platform. But then I think around March as well, that's when Gojek reached out and exploring partnership opportunities with Promogo. And I guess the rest is just history. We got into partnership. We worked for a few months, and then it leads to an acquisition, right? And that's why I was with Gojek for a couple of years before today, right? So I'm gonna leave Promogo right now, and I'm gonna move on to what am I doing today. So as Paniko mentioned as well earlier, so I'm doing Kita Kitchen. I co-founded a cloud kitchen. But why cloud kitchen? I guess for any F&B, they need to scale their businesses. Having one outlet is good, but of course they wanted to have more. They want to have 3, they want to have 5, they want to have 10. And I don't think it's possible for all F&B merchant to be able to open outlet anywhere they want, because it involves a lot of capex, a lot of upfront cash. It involves commitment. They need to commit it into certain area, not knowing the neighborhood, whether or not it's accepting or receiving their market, and they got to deal with a lot of things. I'm gonna get into details a little bit later, but that's who we are. We are a cloud kitchen that's basically trying to ease up all that problem. What we're providing is infrastructures. What we're providing is an instant expansion. Whenever we open in certain area, any F&B merchant could join us, right? And because of the sizes of a cloud kitchen, it's not very big. You know, that will also means automatically reducing their OPEX, their operations costs, right? And what is the essential of what we're doing? I guess optimization of roles is what I'm doing here. Focusing on what matters. I think you're gonna hear that a lot from me. So in this case, on the food and branding side, I believe that F&B merchant needs to focus on that. So how to create consistency in their food, how to keep their costs down, and how to get more awareness, how to do more marketing. And I believe that's all F&B merchants should focus on, because you know, cloud kitchens like us supposed to think of everything else but that too. Right in the middle is how I represent the online drivers. So for all the online drivers, what they want to focus on, what matters to them is more orders. They want to reduce their idle time. They want to reduce their traveling time. They want to get it quicker. So the more orders they do, the more money they earn. Simple. Right on the hygiene part, that's us. I believe all of us here must have experienced ordering online food. And of course, deep inside, we will always expect it and want that the food that delivered to us is hygiene, it's clean, and is remain as fresh as possible. So that's really the essential of what Kita Kitchens is doing. Understanding the issues. I mentioned that earlier, right? So top left, that's the F&B merchant where they need to expand, but they have a very limited capex and opex. They don't know how the market gonna react, and right now they must have some sort of shifted consumer behavior with the current situations. So what actions are we taking on this? We try to remove all that by giving them a low investment. This low investment represent you don't need a lot of capex and opex to start. You can test the market in these uncertainty times, and you can also test the product, just in case there is a shift in consumer behavior. In the middle, I mentioned also on the driver's side, I mentioned the idle time, the unnecessary expenses, probably the extra cost of petrol, the parking fee, and of course, an inefficient pickup point where the food or the beverage that the drivers wants to pick up is not necessarily is dedicated for that. So they need to go through a few things, and basically it's not efficient. So what are we doing on that? We're optimizing the delivery location. We're making sure that the flow within the location is seamless for the driver to quickly go in and go out, and have that shorter lead time to wait, to cut down the cost of the unnecessary expenses, and that leads to us, combination of the merchant and the driver, that leads to us, right? We as the users, we wanted a shorter delivery time. We don't want a food quality reduced by the distance travel of the food. There are food or drinks that basically best consumed within certain time, and we do not want that. And combination of this, all the actions taken, that's basically will help on a faster delivery. So this is what I believe that holistically, what Kita Kitchen is doing is helping everyone. It's a positive across the board of the merchant, of the drivers, and us as the users. Now, I'm going to go a little bit deeper on the services that I mentioned. So I've said a lot on focusing on what matters and on the cleanliness, but what do I mean by that? So these are probably the top 3 most expensive things when you run an F&B. You need a hygienic environment. You need to take care of your waste management and pest. It's a big thing, and that's very expensive. And we noticed that, and this is what Kita Kitchen is providing, right? So we make sure that we do the hygiene, the sanitation of the place. We take care of the waste management, the licenses and all that, and of course we're doing the pest control as well. So again, all the merchants can focus on what matters, which were the food and the branding. This cleanliness or hygiene is not enough. We need to also provide the robust infrastructure. So I'm talking, we're getting down to the piping, to the cable, the installation, the gas meter and all that, to the very best that we can. It has to be reliable. I think for Kita Kitchen, the nightmare that probably we're facing is when a merchant calls us and say that, hey, the lights just keep flicking on and off. That's a problem for us. That's not be something wrong with the electricity. Or the gas stopped working. The gas naik turun, tekanannya nggak konsisten. So that's another thing. So all this robust infrastructure is basically what we are focusing on as well. So, and obviously an industrial standard is required to run this whole infrastructures and compound within Kita Kitchen. What I like to share with you also is that the only constant in life is the change itself. No one, I don't know anybody, including myself, that has it all figured out in the first go. There's a lot of trial and error involved in this, and we need to always be prepared for change, simply because change is the only constant that happens. Making the best of every situation. Pak Nico mentioned that how Kita Kitchen is facing this difficult times as well during this pandemic. It is a strange world that we lived in, don't you think? I read this joke just yesterday. There is a quote saying that, you remember those birthday parties where we blow to a candle on the birthday? That's just crazy times, right? So now it's just because of the droplets, because of how it's airborne and this and that. It's just crazy. It's just a strange times that we lived in. We are forced to always think outside the box. We are need to always be prepared on noticing on the consumer behavior, whether it's shifted, whether it's new consumer behavior. And all I can say is pressure is good. Pressure actually brings the best out of all of us. If you think of how diamond is made, if you think of how wine is created, there's a lot of hard pressure that needed to make a grape turn into a wine, to make a diamond polish to become a best cut and best shine and all that. Now, just quickly going back on this pandemic, I must say, actually, this COVID situation is helping the idea and the business of Cloud Kitchen in general, simply because there's so much uncertainty on the retail. It has always been. Retail is always very exciting, very volatile. But COVID is actually helping the idea and making and educating a lot of F&B to consider to get into a cloud kitchen. And I think I also like to mention that what Kita Kitchen wants to be down the line, all we want to be a permanent option for F&B to scale. That's simple. I just like to be a permanent option for you whenever your business ready and want to scale. Embracing the new normal, we know O2O terms a lot. Basically, it is an online to offline. But in here, I put the same thing. It's a vice versa. It's offline to online as well. So what we're doing from your shop on the side of the road, it's how for you to start thinking that you want to go online. The online food delivery, obviously, it's not. I want to say sticky, but I think it's beyond sticky. I think it's a permanent behavior of all of us. I personally can't think life without Go Food or Grab Food, simply because the days of us going out and buy food for takeaways is just I don't think so. I don't think so anymore. So yeah, embracing the new normal here, I believe is not just online to offline, but vice versa. I mentioned about trial and error. Mistakes are inevitable. This is just some of the stories, the real stories that happened within Kita Kitchen. When I thought that this size will be suitable for everyone or for even certain industry, what we find out, nope. The size was just too small or too big or too narrow or too wide. There's so many variables that none of us know until we actually attempted to do it. So from here onwards, after the mistake was done and did, we got to change. We adapt. Second location, third location onwards, we know on what sizes that needs to be eliminated completely from the choices. We have another business model called Kita Kios. which is the child of Kita Kitchen, which is a kiosk that served a collection of a ready-to-heat product or food. It brings tremendous tractions and transaction. A lot of brands got excited. End users convert into sales. So all is well. But we made a mistake too. We thought that a chiller or just a fridge will be good, because we want to drive that impulsiveness of people to buy, to consume the food. So, but as much as that traction increases, the waste increases, because on just a chiller or a fridge, a normal fridge, there is an expiry date. It's not frozen goods, it's not frozen foods, that there's a best before. So that was a mistake, and what we learned from it is we need to provide freezer as much as the chiller too. So whichever product that probably best serve frozen can be catered in the location. So yet again, what we change here onwards, we're not making or we're not displaying too many chilled products, but now we also focuses on the frozen products, and that's definitely bring the waste down and creating more efficient inventory system. Quickly milestone on Kita Kitchen, very new. We only just started this May at our first location. We started Kita Kios, I mentioned that briefly, in June. In July, we try a few other things. We launched Kita Catering, which is a PO-based ordering system on all the merchants inside. For the rest of the year, because of the tractions, we are expanding. So I guess in here, I just also like to say, just like PromoGo before, we keep on challenging ourselves, right? We can't just fit in just one box and that's who we are. That's probably the worst. Complacent, being comfortable, it's probably the worst enemy that we can have. So for us to always keep innovating, for us to always think, 2-3 steps ahead, is what Pak Nico mentioned, and try to always be above the curve, right? We just keep on pushing. So that's probably what I like to share within this slide as well. Now, enough about Kita Kitchen, enough about PromoGo, enough about me. In here, I like to really give a hats off to Pak Nico and the whole MRTJ team. I personally know that MRTJ Accelerator is the brain child of Pak Nico himself. So kudos to you, Pak Nico. I feel that the spirit of collaboration is the key. Back in the days, nobody want to share their trade secrets. No, everybody, closed their doors and not wanting to share. But, for MRT Jakarta to wanting to do this initiative, to actually launch, and every one of you here that already part of the MRTJ, that this is it, man. This is the gateway to the uncharted opportunities. That's what I put it, right? The possibility is just huge. And I personally believe that the partnership between big corporations and startups, it's one of the key to provide long-term sustainability. So there, I promise this is my last slide. I'm gonna leave you guys with this. Who you were, who you are, and who you will be are 3 different people. This is, for me, is very powerful. It's self-explanatory. I don't even need to explain this to you, but your past doesn't define you, right? Who you are today, you're not gonna stay like this forever. The situations that you're in right now, it's not gonna be like this forever. But and who you will be, who you wanna become, what you wanna achieve, that's literally 3 different people. So that's all, guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in.
Okay, great. Wow. Thank you, Pak Andrew, for great, sharing sessions with you. Like all of your quotes, the last one here, who you were. It's true. If I look back, it was like maybe 10 years ago. It's different, I think, than who am I now, right? And what I will be in the future is what I'm going to define and my goal, what I want to do. That's how I'm going to be, right? So it is true for this. So thank you, by Andrew, for this. Thanks, Andrew. I think I wrote down some notes here. I think it's really good. And before we go to the question, let me just recap a little bit, Andrew. I think this is good, right? I think I like it when you when you came back. I think you saw an opportunity. You really quick saw an opportunity in Indonesia about when the market on how when you launched Promogo, right? And how after that you tap in with the online ojek online, right? And then on how you give back to the drivers, right? And looking at that, I know that start from cars, always try to expand, right? And then 5 billion buses, motorbikes, and out of home advertising here. And this is a cloud kitchen, right? I think I don't know. It's probably just a good time, right, to start cloud kitchen now with all the all the things going around with COVID-19 now. People prefer ordering food online. It's just I know you talked to me even before the COVID-19. It's like we can predict the futures of what's going to happen. This is it, my business. And that's why it's like it's amazing on how you you launched a kitchen. You started construction in May during this COVID time, but you successfully built the first location. I personally look at the location. Andrew invited me there. It's what he explained. It's super clean and everything really designed properly. Every kitchen has its own secret. All brands have secret. It's so secretive. When you go in, you got to tap in the card and everything. Security is good. You got monitoring. CCTV everywhere. So all is really good here. What he explained before. What I want to point out here, Andrew, I think when we talk about this, you understand the issues, right? You understand really. I don't know. We probably spend a lot of time. I don't know if spend a lot of time now, but you really understand the issues of what people are why are people hesitating? Opening open restaurant, F&B, or opening a franchise stuff. Like capex, big capex, opex. It's not just a capex and opex, right? You got to understand. Hey, building a restaurant. It's like you understand where the gas line, the electricity and stuff, you don't want everything just happen to blow up, right? So, you understand the idle time when people delivery, idle time. Sometimes it's hard to get into some of the restaurant, right? Because they have to pay parking and stuff. And if you don't know the location, it's going to be a long delivery time, right? Again, cleanliness, robust infrastructure that I explained before, you understand all of that. So it seems to me, I think going back to what Donald mentioned, you understand as a founder, it looks like here you understand, you have a vision, you understand the market really well. What are the issues? It's more like you understand what the customer needs, the customer issue, more like customer centric. You try to basically solve the problem what's in the market, which is great here, I think, right? And right, you make use of every best situation, right? Think outside the box, pressure is good. I believe all of that, new consumer behavior, and always, constant change, right? I think as a startup here, all of you guys probably the startup here environment, you guys have to be very agile, right? To the changes and everything. So, now, thanks, Andrew, for this. I have a questions. I have 2 questions now, right? I think one of the question is related here to Ma Anton here from from mindgame.com, right? My question here is, I think a question from Pak Anton was Promogo acquired very high. Can you tell us what happened briefly? Supaya jadi motivasi buat kita. So my question is around there. I can just, so you can answer both of our questions together. My question is here, Andrew, for regarding the Promogo here. What made you think that that was the great time to exit Promogo? Right, and Promogo acquired Gojek. You can explain to me a bit how did it happen? How did you really pitch into everything? Maybe you don't have to share detail. It's just a motivating, right? I think Pak Anton mentioned here because I think he also just launched something with Gojek. he's working together with Gojek to launch his app in Gojek. So, motivation for all of us. So what made you think, again, the question, what made you think this is a great time, that was a great time to accept PromoGo, and how did you really pitch to Gojek to make it happen?
Right. Thanks, Pak Nico, for that. And I got read the Pak Anton's questions as well. So I think exiting for a founder has always been the North Star. They wanted to exit, but for me at that time, and how the relationship started between PromoGo and Gojek. For me, I had a big dream on PromoGo. I wanted to impact the society in a positive way. So simple, right? They're doing the same thing every day, but just allowing me to put a decal on the car, you're gonna get extra. You're gonna earn more. So that is a sharing economy that I bring in, and with Gojek. I think my dream just got bigger, right? Well, PromoGo's dream as a whole just got bigger. At that time, did I think that it was a good time to exit? It was a good valuation. It's all about the dollar. If it's all entirely about that, I can say that it's not true. It's not about that. It's not all about that. Until today, I'm still very proud that PromoGo is still running within Gojek, and they are impacting even bigger. I was handling mainly the big cities. There's some small cities or second tier, but now with Gojek, they can literally launch this car advertisement, bike advertising, in the whole national scale, right? They just copy and paste. They can do this in Vietnam. They can do this in Thailand, right? And it's just, for me, that merge just made sense. PromoGo's dream doesn't get killed. The PromoGo dreams just got bigger. So that's what happened. And just to share a little bit of details on the questions as well, like how did it really happen? I mentioned within that timeline. So March is where Gojek reached out, and Gojek basically exploring a potential partnership. And it makes sense for them. Basically, we need a lot of cars. We need a lot of bikes, and they have a lot of cars. They have a lot of bikes. They can reach out to their drivers, and they can promote or ask whether or not they'd be interested. The decision is entirely still up to the drivers whether they want it or not. But of course, the way I say it is 11 out of 10 people that you ask will say yes, right? Why 11 out of 10? Because the next guy will also say yes. So it started off with a partnership. It started off, and all I can say is it's not rainbows and butterflies. There's a lot of hiccups, for two teams to merge together for a little tiny company with a big giant corporations. That's a lot of hiccups there. And this is the true story. I spoke to them and I said that how serious of you to wanting to do this, right? Get into advertisement while still providing the core value of you, which is impact of the society. You care about your drivers a lot, so this is definitely an ancillary revenue for them. And they say that they're very, very serious about this. And so I said, buy me out, acquired me. And literally that is the story. There's another quote that I like to share. If you never ask, the answer is always no. So just let that sink in for a bit, right? If you never ask, the answer is always no. I'm not saying that every time we ask, the answer, will always be yes. But then if you never ask, it's just no, right? So this is a true story. I can't make this up. I said it. I sit down. It's not one time, but it takes a few meetings. But I said that if you guys are serious, consider having us. We have the team on the ground, the expertise, the license, the know-how, even a brand relation. And I guess it wasn't a quick decision for them. It takes a long time, due diligence, and all that. But then we know that that's all history now. So we did get acquired because of that.
Good. Okay. Great, thanks, Andrew. Great answer. Great, thanks for inspiring all of us with that thing. I think it's always it's always the next goal, right, for a founder. Before I go to my next question, I want to read another Panton here. Probably about his question here. By Andrew, what is your 2021 onwards goal for Kegiatan? How do you keep yourself and your team motivated towards that goal? Maybe you can answer that too first, Andrew.
Right. So, goal for Kegiatan, we just started, so we barely scratching the surface of everything, right? Expansion on the kitchen, on the kiosk is definitely what we aim for. I mean, even beyond 2021, right? I think the next 2 years, it's all about increasing that footprints, right? And then if you ask me, how do I keep myself and my team motivated? I think it's down to what are we doing here, right? Why are we building this? And I think I've elaborated on the earlier sharing on all the positive impact that we're doing. I really believe that we can be the permanent option for F&B to scale, right? I want to be the top of mind, of course, for an option for a cloud kitchens. For the rest of the team, for them to embed it, to know that, look, when the merchants join us, they are scaling their businesses. They expanding their business. They become more successful. They have more outlets, right? And guess what? Doing that, they don't need a lot of capital. They don't need to manage a big OPEX. It is an instant expansion. So we're doing good things for them. The drivers, don't get me started. We have a big compound. We have a flow. We have an SOP within the site. We make the drivers, get in quickly and get out, right? And that will generate even more orders. And for all of us, for the rest of us who uses this food delivery, we get a fresher taste, a shorter delivery time. So I guess that is the motivation on its own. Well, that's what I believe. And I believe the team also shared the same vision. What we're doing every day, it's a good thing. We're not hurting anybody, right? We're not robbing anybody, right? All we're doing is we're helping every single one of them holistically. Okay. I hope that answers it.
Yeah, I think hopefully that answers Pak Anton's question there. I think if you know, Pak Anton is also a veteran on all the founders here. He's king of gamer. I think he built a lot of gaming companies here. Thanks, Andrew. One more question for me. I think this is, I like here, you say mistakes are inevitable, right? And sometimes, with the startups, right? And this is, I think, question also for me and for startups here. I remember the time when we had the first webinar with Asto. Asto mentioned, right? Hey, for him, it's just like, his background was consulting, right? He done a lot of analysis, blah, 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 before even execute the idea. But when he's doing startups, right? He's just like, I'm just going to do it first. And if it doesn't work, it pivot later, right? Now, my question is this, how did you deal with all the changes, right? Like you also mentioned, right, embracing life is a constant change. How do you deal with all the changes, and how do you know it's best time to make a change? When you make a change, right, sometimes you also have to, when you make a change, you have to either pivot or be agile or something, right? So how do you know it's the best time to make a change? And if you decide to make a change, how do you balance between, hey, you know what, you can't just abruptly like, hey, I want to do this and just do it without all the thinking analysis. How do you balance between the analysis and just go do it? We can't just have 2 months analysis, 3 months analysis, and just be too late for the market, right? How do you balance that between when all your experience been promulgating Kegiatan, when you deal with the changes and you pivot, and how long do you do the analysis and stuff before you do the execution?
Right. Okay. So let me answer the first part of the question is, how do I deal with constant changes? We talked about that earlier, and I have to answer this in bahasa sih, Pak.
Yeah, sure.
Jawabannya itu cuman 2 kata, jangan baper. That's it. Jangan baper. Itu benar sih. So you mentioned just promo and Kegiatan, but really Gojek play a big role in my head. I'm forever grateful. It was I was only there for 2 years, but that was the wonderful time. Learned so much from that. And jangan baper is basically from the environment of Gojeks as well. We live in a very fast-paced world. There's so many things happening right now, right? And we just really, I think you also mentioned that on the previous mentors, it's all about being agile, right? Agile is not just a word. Just please think that agile means that you just have to be flexible. You just have to be quick. Yeah, so that's the first part of the questions. On the second part, when you say that, how long do you need to do the change, to do more research, to do this and that? And the answer to that, also simple. However long or fast it takes. There is no, X weeks, days, or months that can be put in there, but it just, as fast as you can, as long as it needs to be, right? But again, because mistakes are inevitable, you don't know it until you go through it. So you might as well just do it and see what happened. One thing that I like to quote from Nadim himself, hyper experiment the bleep out of everything. Hyper experiment the bleep out of everything. So that I think it's also a takeaway that I get from Gojek, is that, just try it, just do it and see what happens. And there will be so much to learn from doing it. I hope that makes sense and answers this.
Yeah. I think you're right. I mean, there's really is no right or wrong, but I guess for your experience, what is the longest you think you've taken the time to really pivot on something?
It's always hard for me to always dig on when it was exactly and how it was, right? I'm that guy that when I'm driving, I rarely see my side and my rear mirror, if you know what I mean, right? It's figure of speech. I'm a safe driver.
Because you have a driver?
I'm a safe. Oh yeah. But all I'm saying is, all that matters is just forward, right? That's the only thing that matters, right? But if I have to answer it, how long before I pivot? There's some occasion, different scale of problem, different scale of situations. It might take longer than usual, but I think yeah, I don't really have a good answer for that. I don't think any good answer will be able to provide. Yeah.
Okay. No worries. That answers the question. Thanks. Do you have any other questions here from the participants? Okay.
Are there any question? Maybe we can discussing maybe just one question, because it's nearly the end of our talk show.
No more question?
Maybe I have one question, Pak Andrew. How you propose the brand owner when you developing the Kita Kitchen, and how you calculate or take the margin from them? If I can ask this to you.
How do I propose to a brand? Like, how do I pitch to a brand?
Yes.
Okay. So how do I pitch to the brand? I think I mean, Pak Nico and I have been friends. Pak Anton here also is a dear friend, and you probably know me by now. But for the rest of everyone that here, the answer to that, to JB's questions on how do I pitch, the answer is this: I knock on every door there is, and when I say that, I do mean literally. So I have no hesitation in meeting new people, in knocking on doors, in just explaining on what I do and why I do, right? And JB, believe it or not, this has served me. This attitude has served me a great big thing, a great deal of things back in since I ever remember when I started anything. right? Kalau bahasanya, I sering bilang gini, mau kerja di sini, di dunia ini, urat malu putusin. Nggak ada namanya malu-malu. And you gotta live on lebih baik gue malu-maluin daripada gue malu-malu. Why malu-maluin lebih bagus? You know, malu-maluin basically it's a perception. People think you are embarrassing yourself, but that's just who you are. You're not. You sebenarnya nggak malu-maluin gitu. But malu-malu, it's you. It's your fault. You're not expressing enough. You're not showing enough. Nobody really knows who you are because you malu-malu gitu. Jadi ya itu sih. Yeah, that's the answer to that. And the second part of your questions on how do I calculate? Let's have a different session simply because it's a lot of variables, JB. It's not that I can answer you, because what's the size? How long is the term? What is your brand? And all that. So there is a lot of variables in there. But all I can say is that the business model is driven by revenue sharing, right? So the success of you is the success of me. If you are not successful in this, I wouldn't be successful in this. So we are betting on each other on doing this together. That's basically the principle or the essentials of what Kita Kitchens.
Thank you for your answers.
Yeah,
very clear. Yeah.
Thanks, and I think that I think JP good questions on that. Pak Anton also before I have my saying here. Panton here, ABC, always be closing.
Always be closing.
Yeah, you're right, Panton. If I need a guy to close a deal, I'll bring Andrew. He's gonna close the deal. He closed the deal with Nadim probably. Always be closing. You can pitch anytime. You can picture anytime, anywhere. He can sell anything basically, right?
You guys are too kind.
Okay, but you know what? Andrew, when you say that, always be knocking, orang malu putus, I think that's one thing that I learned from you. You told me one story when you tried to reach out somebody to try to get some business. It took you 2 years before the guy even like you. I wouldn't say who, but is that what I learned from you? When I started this idea of the MRTJ Accelerator, right? Some of these mentors are my friends. Some of these I didn't even know. I knock on the door, like I said, I send a message through LinkedIn, anything, just have a conversation and became friends with them. So that's one thing I learned from you, No need to have run malu-malu, it's better, just go. It didn't work. Then the second way is jangan baper. People say that, right? If people don't reach out to you, then go back, that's fine. I reach out to someone else, right? So that's why I learned from Andrew. I think it's really good. It's a real good session, Andrew. I think all the things that you sharing with us is really good. And also, to be honest, I also learned a lot from you and and a lot of stuff here. So thank you for that. I think that's gonna wrap up our session, Andrew. It's almost 11 now. Again, feel like we have learned a lot here from Andrew. Like the rest of the session, always, I think every guest speakers that we invited here gave new, fresh ideas and experiences as well we can learn. So hopefully for those of you guys who participated here can learn something here. Okay, thanks, Andrew. JB, back to you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Pak Andrew. Thank you, Pak Nico, for your sharing, for your presentation, and then also we can learn many things from your experience also, Pak Andrew. And then lastly, maybe I can give you all the members in here. We will have a MRTJ Accel Talkshow 5 in 20 November. We will inviting Pak Victor Lasmana, the Director of Payment and Fintechs and Virtual Product of the Bukalapak. And then the theme is creating startup high impact solution across all the sectors. So it will be still continuing from the session today. So if you like to joining us, don't forget to following our social media, MRTJ, and then you can register on there, and then we will meet again on the 20 November. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you all for participating. Thanks, Andrew.
Thanks everyone.
Terima kasih, Pak. Thank you.
Guys. Have a good weekend. Thanks. Bye.